Welcome, everybody, to Inside Boxing Daily and the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Inside Boxing Daily is brought to you by Jeremiah's kid who's crying. Also brought to you by, what the heck, Intimate Warfare, which you can find, a book by John Raspanti and Dennis Taylor on Amazon about the Mickey Ward Arturo Gatti trilogy. Also brought to you by BetNow.eu, which you can go to BetNow.eu and get a 50% cashback bonus up to your first deposit of $1,000. Also by the Retired Boxers Foundation, Jackie Richardson and Alex Ramos. Make sure you check them out on Facebook. And Seat Giant, where you can use the promo code TGT to get a discount on your ticket purchase. I am your co-host for Inside Boxing Daily, Mike Goodpaster. And right now I'd like to welcome in my co-host, Jeremiah Preisser.
Good evening, all. I'm excited to be on, man. Let's talk some boxing.
And our guest today is the aforementioned, one of the co-authors of Intimate Warfare with Dennis Taylor. Help me welcome to the show, John Raspanti. How you doing, John?
Doing great, Mike. Hi, Jeremiah. Always a pleasure to be on with you guys.
Yeah, Jeremiah, shut your damn kid up. There's people listening. You there, Jeremiah?
No, I'm busy yelling at my kid.
What are you yelling in sign language?
No.
Really?
No.
Why? That kid.
Yeah,
all right.
No.
So we're going to discuss boxing movies tonight. We talked about the Rockies last week, so probably no reason to bring the Rockies up now. But let's just start off. John, what are some of your favorite movies that people don't really bring up that often boxing-wise?
Seems like a lot of them because my favorites are all oldies pretty much, Mike. Not just going randomly movies that pop into my brain that I really liked. I mean, I didn't mind Golden Boy, 1939 with William Holden. I don't think people talk about that one. It's a little dated, but William Holden trying to decide whether he wants to play the violin or be a boxer sounds kind of silly, and it is in places. But it's also well done, and this was William Holden's first part. Anybody who remembers William Holden from Bridge Over the River Kwai and other great movies like Sunset Boulevard, he was a good actor. He's in that. And City of Conquest with James Cagney a few years later. Gentleman Jim is one of my favorites, Mike. I know we talked about that. Errol Flynn, perfectly cast as Gentleman James J. Corbett. A fictionalized biography, some truth, some not so much true stuff, like most movie biographies. And then we get up to this golden period that I love, 1947, Body and Soul, my personal favorite, as you know, the late great John Garfield. And then 2 years later, The Setup, probably the greatest boxing movie ever made, and Champion with Kirk Douglas, a tremendous film, and then we go into the 50s. So there were a lot of good ones. There was one that is escaping me right now around that period that a lot of Ricardo Montalban, way before Fantasy Island, played a boxer, and Dick Powell was in it, and June Allison was in it, and it wasn't bad. I can't remember. I think the Cross or something like that. Around 1952. That's probably one nobody's really seen. And the one I really remember well, Mike, and see, now I'm going to have to cheat because I can't remember and I'm going to have to look it up, is I don't even know if you've seen it, but do you remember Jeff Chandler?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not talking about the bantamweight champion, are you?
No, I'm not talking about the bantamweight champion.
Yes, but I have heard of Jeff Chandler.
Okay, he was in a movie... I think it was called The Iron Man. It was in the 50s.
That sounds familiar. I think Ricardo Montalban, that was Right Cross, wasn't it?
That was Right Cross, right? And then I think the Iron Man and the guy fights at the end is Rock Hudson. So, and it was good. It's a good film, not like in the other films that I was talking about, but Jeff Chandler was always good, and that's one that I think people might enjoy.
Yeah, I've actually.
So yeah,
I saw Iron Man. So there you go.
You did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I did.
Not shown very often.
No, I saw it when I
But
was little because when I was little, they used to have like on Friday night and Saturday night, they would have these late night movies, and you'd get them every once in a while.
yeah, even when I was little, they did that. Even maybe when Jeremiah was little,
No,
which
they didn't
was
do
only
that when
what?
Jeremiah was little. Jeremiah was watching MTV.
Ah,
When
yeah,
it
it
was
wasn't
actually
very,
music, though. It was still music at that time.
yeah, wasn't very long. Yeah, it wasn't very long ago. He's so young. So yeah, but yeah, that's a few just off the top of my head. But there are a number. If we jump forward, and this is one of my favorites, and it's good, and I think people would see Hard Times with Charles Bronson.
That wasn't really
Was
a
really
boxing
good.
movie, was it? Wasn't it like a bare knuckle fighting thing?
Yeah, well, he's not boxing, but it's bare knuckles. But he's boxing because I mean, bare knuckles, but still, he's fighting.
Yeah.
So like every which way but loose, and I mean, but of course, the Bronson film is much more serious.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a
Uh,
freaking cool ass orangutan in it like Every Which Way But Loose did.
Well, it was not a comedy. That is correct. And then of course, Somebody Up There Likes Me. We both love that one with Paul
Yeah,
Newman.
directed
as
by Robert
Rocky
Wise, Paul Newman. Yeah.
Robert Wise also directed The Setup.
Yeah,
that
The
tells you how
Setup
good
was
a
a movie that everybody needs to see, including Jeremiah, who probably hasn't because he's a young one and probably doesn't like those black and white movies.
Probably, but he should see it. You should see it, Jeremiah. You'll really like it. It doesn't waste a frame. It's Jeremiah. Get this. It's done in real time, which is really cool.
It's done in real time. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Well, see, here's my
Yeah.
thing is I may be younger on the younger side of you two.
Shut up! Nobody likes that. Nobody likes a smart.
But hey, now I mean,
He's a
well,
smart
hey,
aleck. Go on.
just pump the brakes, okay? Not pointing out anything that's factually incorrect. I'm just saying, okay? But no, it's not as if I can't appreciate those sorts of things. I mean, it's not like my thing with, like I have met a good number of younger people who, they can't stand watching movies unless, the graphics are really polished and, you
Right.
get these insane action flicks anymore where, there's so much artificial and, so much AI that's injected into it or no, CGI is what I meant to say. So much CGI in it anymore that it's just so polished and clean anymore. I'm not like that. I could appreciate a film, just so long as the acting's good. It's kind of like music to me, like so long as the art is done well, whether it's a bit simpler or not is, it's again, it's still something I can digest. Again, I do know those people who are opposed to that sort of stuff and won't go, anywhere, the turn of the century, but yeah, I'm not one of those guys, but it's, if they got it on Netflix or something, again, I mean, where would I go to get it if I do want to watch it?
The Setup?
Probably the library.
No, The
maybe.
Setup
Can
I
I-
found. I don't remember where I found it, but I had to pay like $2.99 to see it. Actually, it was on my Xfinity cable, but it was like $2.99. But I watched it
Yeah, it's on.
when we did that top 10 boxing movies thing with
Yeah.
Christopher Sheldon. What do you think about Requiem for a Heavyweight?
Oh, it's a great film, and I didn't mention The Harder They Fall with Humphrey Bogart, his last film, Rod Steiger.
I was going to say Rod Steiger too.
That was just a tremendous film. Requiem it seems like every time it's very good, and then every time I watch it, I like it more, even though it's a depressing film in a lot of ways. But Anthony Quinn is just fantastic as Mountain Rivera, and so is Jackie Gleason as his corrupt manager, and you got Mickey Rooney as his friend and cup man. And it's just like The Setup and The Harder They Fall, and Somebody Up There Likes Me to a point. It's somewhat film noirish. It's gritty. And that's what just Jeremiah was talking about. These films are gritty, especially The Setup. They don't waste anything. I mean, you're not going to get no happy story here. This is pretty based on a lot of truth. In The Setup, Jeremiah, the guy's 35 years old and he's considered done. He's washed up, and that's why I always liked these movies. And my dad was the one who introduced me to them. Of course, was they were more believable than what you were talking about, how polished and all that stuff. And old movies can be dated, like I said, but since they're in black and white, it kind of brings that grittiness into it, and it makes it a little more hard hitting as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, how's the boxing in these films? I mean, is it pretty believable as well?
Well, it's hit and miss. I mean, as much as John Garfield's Body and Soul, as much as he boxed a little, but you see things and you just kind of have to roll with it. Some of it's not bad, some of it's like, it's a movie. It's a movie, so like that. Now the setup. Now Robert Ryan boxed in college. And he's just a 4-round fighter, basically. So there aren't a lot of he's being brought in to fight the young hotshot. So the boxing isn't bad in the setup. Somebody up there likes me, Paul Newman's playing Rocky Graziano. Let's just leave it like this. It's not so bad that you're going to go, oh, I can't watch this. Because I'll tell you a story. Randy Shields, who I hope most people remember, super fighter in the 70s, 80s. Fought just about everybody. Beat Sugar Ray Leonard in the amateurs. Feels like he beat him in the pros, but Randy loves movies like me. He loves oldies, and I actually sent him Body and Soul to watch, and he really liked the movie. But of course, he had a little problems with some of the boxing scenes. But it didn't stop him from watching it, and he didn't stop watching it because of it. He saw things because he sees things, like anybody. But I don't think it's gonna make you go, oh, I'm not watching this. I mean, I've seen some newer films that are ridiculous. Some of and a lot worse than that. It's just that that this is an actor playing a fighter, and that there are going to be flaws, but they do it the right way. Like in Body and Soul, Jeremiah, the cinematographer was actually on roller skates when he was filming the fight scene. So it gives it a little bit more realism as far as that. It makes you're right in the ring with them. That was the first time that had ever been done.
Yeah, because
so
nothing says
cool.
realism in a boxing ring like a guy in there with a camera on roller skates.
That's right.
Well, I got to ask, though, because I do think that's interesting. So, I mean, the point of the perspective itself, was it supposed to be like a referee's eye, or is it just, meant to get you more intimate with what they're doing?
Intimate, and think of it how a lot of the artsy directors nowadays like to use the jerky camera, right? That almost makes you get dizzy if they overdo it. It was kind of like that. Because he's on roller skates, so it's not like he's standing still, right? So he's following them, and the camera's kind of tilting and moving and jumping a little bit. And Mike knows because he watched Body and Soul, because I've been raving about it since he's known me. So it did, and they didn't overdo it. They didn't use it all that much, and so you didn't get tired of it. But it was for 1947. That was incredible. For that
well, I'll
time.
tell you
And
this.
It was
I think I'd seen the movie when I was little, but the thing that stuck out to me was the remake with Jane Kennedy. So
I'm not saying any more about
she's
that.
fine
That
as
is
hell.
a totally
I'm kind of
film.
disappointed that I found out that those titties weren't really hers, though. She had a.
Would she have like a body double in that, or what?
Yeah, it is.
I hate that.
I know.
I hate that.
What,
just show me your tits.
Yeah. Are you talking to me or John?
Whichever has the bigger pair.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what's he doing there. Is he starting up again? Because we're not showing anything, Mike. So forget it.
Oh, it sounds like Christopher Shelton now. All right. So I could go with this. I think that over the last 30 years, boxing movies, I don't think have been quite as good because of missing that kind of grittiness. But a movie to me that really stood out as gritty that I think could have been made at this time and it would have been believable, except for it was a woman boxer, is Million Dollar Baby, because I think that was more in the lines of a setup or a Body and Soul, the way they set it up and then the ending.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was a tremendous movie. Now, Jeremiah, did you see Million Dollar Baby?
Yes, I have.
What did you think of it?
I think I'm kind of along the lines of Mike there. I do think that it was a pretty raw story. I think it was a raw storyline. I mean, I think Clint Eastwood was a perfect guy to play that role. I mean, he's just one of those guys. I really, this is why I don't watch a lot of action flicks anymore, is because, I see guys like Ben Affleck and turds like that who just, to me, they seem like they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. They don't really know what it's like, and like there's a certain kind of characteristic that comes along with people who actually been there and done it. And, Eastwood just kind of strikes me as one of those guys who he kind of gets it. He's just hard nosed. Then he's got that he's got that steely stare about him. I mean, there's just so much about him that made it believable. And at first he's just kind of like, now get out of here. I don't want to deal with you. Yep. This isn't for somebody like you. And she kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. But yeah, I mean, the only problem with the film is I thought it was well done from start to finish, except how she got in the hospital. I'm like, you hit your head on a stool in a boxing ring. That just seems so out there. But I mean, I do like the ending because for me, I'm actually opposed to the constant happy endings that you see in Hollywood. And that's why, I know a lot of people are big into the superhero movies, right? There's been a revival of that stuff with Ant-Man and Superman and Batman and all that other stuff. And it's fine. I mean, it's not to say that some of them aren't well done. I mean, I've seen a lot of them, but not because, I was ever a magazine fan or anything like that, but just because, my wife has buddies or I have buddies who are into it and they're like, hey, check it out. And, I'll spend an hour and a half watching or whatever. But to me, it takes a lot of the luster away from the movies because it's always this dichotomy where it's black and white, good versus evil. And in the end, good always wins. And that's nice thought. It's cool,
life,
but
though.
it's just, it's not life. It's just not life. Well,
right.
That's actually why I prefer, I don't watch many TV shows, but I did watch Game of Thrones, which I enjoyed quite a bit until the ending there. But, it's because the character development is, some guys will start good and they'll end up bad, or they'll start bad and end up good, or they'll just linger in this sort of moral gray area. And it's just much more an accurate reflection of what real life is. And so I like those. I like it's not because I like seeing pity or I like seeing people suffer or anything like that, but it's just a nice takeaway from the usual happenings in Hollywood. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I just didn't like the part where she hit, how she ended up in the hospital. That to me was just a little out there.
All right, we have a question from Hamed. And this is something we have all talked about over the last couple days, so it was good timing, Hamed. Hamed seems to be able to read our minds, Jeremiah.
It's like he listens to the show regularly or something.
Yeah, it's really scary. But we weren't talking about it on the show once again, no. But have you guys watched Southpaw, and what were your thoughts on Jake Gyllenhaal's performance and the film in general? I didn't like the film. I didn't even make it to the end, Jeremiah.
Yeah, I saw it as well. It looked okay, when I saw the preview and whatnot, because
actually,
for me,
the preview, it looked pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, that's my thing is I like Jake Gyllenhaal and what was the movie? He was a soldier. I think it was the Gulf, or what was it? I think it was during the Gulf War. And he was a soldier there. He's a decent actor. He's not up there with the guys like Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio or anything like that. But he's rock solid, and he looks like he takes the thing seriously whenever he gets involved in it. Playing a boxer is certainly one of those roles where you have to take seriously. And the dude was shredded like a Caesar salad. I got to give him that.
Yeah.
But I thought the storyline was okay. I mean, him losing his wife and his daughter, not completely obviously, but being away from his daughter and having to win her back, and it was one of those things where he had to hit the reset button on his life because it all fell apart, and that was cool. Like watching him try to win back the trust of his daughter, that was cool. But the whole premise, I mean, the entire title of the movie is called Southpaw, and that's because his new trainer, some old school guy, Forrest Whitaker's a good actor too, and I don't think I don't think he was bad in that role either. But the whole point was they taught him to throw, what was it, a left hook from the southpaw stance, and he was a righty. I believe that's what it is, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I've only seen that movie I think once, and that to me it was kind of like breaking your neck on a stool. I'm like, no old school trainer is going to teach you to throw the punch that takes the longest time to get there as some sort of special thing that's going to win it all for you. It just didn't make sense to me. But I thought the film was okay. Like if I was a critic or something, I'd probably give it like a 6.5 or like 6 to 7 out of 10. It was good. It was not great. Certainly not the cheesiest movie I've ever seen. It wasn't like Play It to the Bone or something like that. I thought it was better than that, but certainly not a top tier type boxing movie.
All right, John.
Yeah, I watched it finally. When I was in Vegas for Pacquiao Mayweather, Jake Gyllenhaal was there, and he was talking up the movie, and he's a nice guy and everything. He didn't have any air about him, and I agree with Jeremiah. I think he's a good actor. He was in a movie called End of Watch, where he played an LA cop, and that's a really good movie, and he's very good in that. And the guy's got range. He's also played a super nutty creep in a movie called Nightcrawler that's really a weird one. So yeah, he got totally cut for Southpaw, got himself in great condition. It was just more the writing and some of the, like Jeremiah mentioned, some of the ridiculousness that always kind of blows it for boxing movies, especially if you know something about it. See, now, people that don't really know boxing very well probably didn't even catch what Jeremiah was just saying about the left hook and everything, and related to the title of the film. I didn't think I would probably give it a 6 at the highest. It took me a long time to finally watch it. The boxing scenes were over the top, but Jake did fine. Like I said, he's a good actor. I don't think I've ever seen him not do well in a film. So he was more undone by the script, I think, than anything else. But you would take that. If I was to tell somebody, I'd go, well, look, it's pretty good, but don't expect anything memorable, and don't expect to be thinking about it 15 minutes after you watched it. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give it a 6 because I stopped watching it. Maybe I'll try to watch it now since it's a 6. What the hell? When we look at some of the more recent movies, some that I actually did like, and me and John were talking, we may have been the only two people to see it, was Chuck, about the story of Chuck Wepner. You seen that one, Jeremiah?
No, that one I still haven't gotten to, but I do want to watch it because, I do want to watch it. I honestly do. I mean, it's not so much Chuck Wepner that I'm, enthralled by, but it is, who's the guy who plays Chuck?
Liv Schreiber?
Liev
Schreiber. Yeah, Schreiber's a good actor too. Well, and he did all those voiceovers.
I know. He's got such a good voice for that too.
Oh my God, dude! Dude, he's got a sexy voice.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie.
Jeremiah what?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, it gets the old engine revving. I mean,
it makes you want to go out and beat somebody up.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, at this point, my engine, I'm not as old as you guys, but I don't know what it is.
Come on. We've got to stop with those little veiled shots at our age.
Hey, I'm taking a shot at myself. I'm saying it's like cranking over an Oldsmobile, okay? I'm having, it gets me going, but it's not quite like it used to be. But, no, I like Liev. He did all those...
Put your wife on the phone. We want to talk to her real quick.
Yeah, get the wife on the line. Yeah.
Jeremiah's engine don't really crank up anymore, huh?
Yeah, it's like an 88 Buick, it's got tranny issues, but I mean my thing is this is he did all the voiceovers for the 24/7s. He did a great job there, good speaker, and it looks like an interesting film. And I remember listening to when I had a lot of drive time here. I actually lived about an hour outside Denver, and so I would listen to NPR on Sundays, and they had these TED Talks.
Yeah.
And they had an interview on one of them where they did Liev Schreiber for the film, and he was talking about how they had Chuck Wepner with them, working there. And I remember them telling the story in particular where I guess Chuck wrestled a bear or something.
Yeah.
And Liev had him on set, and Liev was like, okay, well, we're not really wrestling a bear. And I guess Chuck Wepner himself was pretty disappointed by that. He was like, I wrestled a bear. You should wrestle a damn bear.
Yeah, but they had the bear muzzled, and they had little mittens on him. It's not like the bear could do much damage to him. I mean, when John Raspanti wrestled a bear back in '76, there was no muzzle, and the claws were out.
That's right. and I won. So there you go, Jeremiah.
Yeah, but the
I
problem
might be
was
old,
1976 was so long ago. There's no film available.
There's no film, and maybe the bear might not have had a muzzle, but maybe he didn't have any teeth, though. But maybe I'm not going to say anything about that.
No, you don't want to say anything about that. But I think that went the same place that the Harold Sconier's Deontay Wilder video went.
That's buried not to be opened until 2049 or something like that. That's one of those things.
Been locked away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How about this one? And this is a guy we had on the show. Did you interview Vinny with me? Vinny Pazienza, John, or Jeremiah?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay. So that was before you.
We did.
But
he did it on the Side Boxing Show. Yeah, we interviewed Vinny.
Yeah. So me and you have. The young kid hasn't. But Bleed for This was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and just a few words about Chuck. I agree with you, Mike. Chuck was a good film. I hope people watch it because Leave is excellent. And what's cool, Jeremiah, is when you do watch it, we were talking about Requiem for a Heavyweight, and I'm assuming that you most likely didn't see that one that Mike and I was raving about with Anthony Quinn. They actually used that as like a movie that Chuck really loves, and it's like not an inspiration, but he can relate to Mountain Rivera. So they show scenes from Requiem for a Heavyweight, so you get a feel for that. So it's really worth your time. Bleed for This surprised me. I saw a trailer and I went, wow, this really looks good. And the thing is when you really remember somebody like Vinny Pazienza, and he's fresh in your mind, the actor has to be able to do something where you're not just thinking about the real guy, like Christopher Shelton's real favorite movie, the Duran one, Hands of Stone. I just couldn't buy that actor as Roberto Duran. I just went nope. That's right. That's what I did. So now Miles Teller, who plays Vinny, he's a damn good actor, and Vinny said that. When we interviewed him, and Vinny was really impressed. He didn't, that'd be pretty trippy, right? To have somebody say, "Well, I'm going to play you," and then you'd be like, "Well, he better do it right." And Vinny was, Vinny don't pull no punches, obviously, pun intended. He was impressed with Miles Teller, and Miles does it. And the movie is right up there with Chuck. It's a very good film, and Mike and me and maybe the relatives saw it, like Chuck. But it's too bad because it's a good film. Yeah,
I thought it was a good film also, and we had Vinny on, and I tried to act like I thought it would be good, but it really was good. And I'm not saying that just because we had Vinny on. Now, we've got to talk about Jeremiah. Jeremiah's greatest boxing move ever, I think, is still Great White Hype, right?
No, I'm with Chris. I'm with Christopher Shelton, man. This is Hands of Stone. I mean, I like the titties. But it's not. I think it's probably the Grudge match. I think that's probably my number one all time.
Actually, I like the Grudge match. So.
Oh.
It was all right.
It was
like Rocky against Jake LaMotta.
Oh no.
But you didn't like the Great White Hype? I thought you told me you liked the Great White Hype, Jeremiah. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was funny.
Well, I got to be honest. I have seen it, but it's been a long time since I have seen it. I mean, that had to have been when I was, I don't know, a damn kid or something. I mean, I really don't remember much of it.
Man, it came out in 1996. I'd have been like 30.
Yeah, that's like my childhood.
Yeah, he's about 5 years old.
Yeah. I actually.
What about Raging Bull, Mike?
What about Raging Bull, John? I didn't like it.
It's
a good movie. I watched it about a year ago because you kept badgering me about it, and I thought it was better than when I originally saw it in the early 80s. But I've read the Jake LaMotta biography, and he was a lot worse guy than that. And I hate to say that they glorified him because he was an asshole in the movie too, but I don't know. He was just a miserable human being.
He was, but as I said, they tend to do that with, like I said, Gentleman Jim. I mean, the real James J. Corbett, he wasn't wasn't like Errol Flynn in most respects. He was kind of a jerk from a
He
lot of
wasn't
things
near
that
as
I've
bad
read.
as Jake LaMotta, though.
No, but my
Yeah.
point is that they tend to fictionalize the Hollywood versions of the biographies. Is all I'm saying. But yeah, no, Jake was a terrible person, and pretty much everybody I think knows it. And he's not glorified right in Raging Bull, but the acting, the directing, the way he shot it in black and white. I mean, it was all just really well done by Martin Scorsese, and that's what a lot of people feel that's the best boxing movie ever made. So there you go.
I bet a lot of people are wrong about things too.
A lot of people are wrong about a lot of things. Well, most things actually. Most of us are wrong about most things.
Well, and the thing is this, I find that I'm not, but everybody else is. So when I look at this, I always see this movie in the top 5, and I really think this movie sucked, and that was Fat City was that John Boyd or Stacy Keach? Stacy Keach was that one.
Stacy Keach, Jeff Bridges,
Susan Terrell.
Directed by John Huston, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that movie sucked. I thought it was a miserable movie. I just felt uncomfortable and dirty just watching it.
It was a miserable movie, you're right, but I didn't think it sucked like you.
Yeah, you did. You're just afraid to say it. You say it all the time when we're not on air.
No, I think it was overrated. But it is it's a depressing film. But it's not. I know a number of people who think that's the greatest movie ever, and that's ridiculous. I wouldn't even put it in the top 10. It wouldn't even sniff the top 10. It would be way, way down there. But excellent acting by Stacy Keach, but that's pretty much, and Jeff Bridges, but that's pretty much it. It's very slow, and it's very depressing, and it's one of those movies.
Sounds like my sex life.
Yeah, well, that again. Well, you said that, Jeremiah. I didn't, but
Why? Would you know? Would you have firsthand knowledge, Sean? John's looking in your window in Colorado every night. He's like, God, this is depressing, like Fat City.
I got to turn my location off.
Yeah, he sends me text messages every now and then with updates. That's all. No, it's just totally overrated. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Fat City, Jeremiah? So you think Jeremiah's sex life's all right then? He said your sex life's not overrated.
No, he's just being modest.
Yeah, because I think in school they called him the Hammer. Didn't they call you that in school, Jeremiah?
No, they call me the Get Hammered. I got punked a lot.
Don't do that, because you know where I'm going with that if you continue.
Yeah, no, it's take it wherever you want, man.
But all right, so Jeremiah, give us a movie you really liked or you really thought was overrated. Either one.
Movie that I really liked or really thought was overrated. In terms of boxing flicks, I'm trying to think here. Let me see. I thought I'm just trying to run through a list in my head here of stuff that I've seen recently. I watched The Fighter with Mickey Ward. I thought that was all right.
You didn't like it? Actually, the first time I watched it, I thought it was just all right. The second time I watched it, I thought it was better than all right. And then I read Intimate Warfare, and I thought I'd rather read this book.
Yeah, I have seen it. You
get that on Amazon. Did you know that, Jeremiah?
No, I had no idea. But
now you know.
Come on, Jeremiah.
Awesome. Well, hey, now the fans know, so they know where to look for it. But no, the Fighter I've only seen. I think I've seen it once, and I did enjoy it. It was a good flick. I mean, it was certainly worth a watch. But it was kind of hard to stomach that they ended the film with him beating who was it? Shay McNeary. What was his name?
Shay Neary.
Shay Neary.
Yeah, he was from the UK, I think.
Yeah, he went and beat him, and then in the film they were like, yeah, he's a world champion, and then they ended it at that. I'm like, how can you have? I mean, is there a sequel to this? I mean, good Lord! I mean, how do you have a Mickey Ward story? Well, yeah, how do you have a Mickey Ward film without Arturo Gatti fights? It doesn't make any sense to me. And and then when they tried to portray him as being a world champion after the Neri fight, I mean, it's good. I mean, I get it. It's Hollywood. They're trying to play it up, but come on, man. This was some BS, Euro level title in the WBU. It really wasn't that special, but it was a good flick, and I do like. I do like Matt Wahlberg. I do think he's a damn good actor. I really liked him in Lone Survivor and some of the other flicks he's been in. But I don't know. I think he's a bit goofy in comedy films. But it was a good flick. But I'm trying to think. I mean, nobody really rated that too highly. So again, I'm just trying to run through some of the ones. The Hurricane, it's okay. I like Denzel, but again, nobody really rates that one. I've seen Girl Fight. Didn't really care for that. I'm trying to think of some of these ones that I've seen that I would rate overrated, because really the only ones that are typically highly rated are the Rocky flicks. A lot of people don't talk about some of these lesser ones that you guys are referring to, like The Setup and whatnot. But there is one that I really want to watch, and one I assume is going to be good. I don't know if either one of you have seen it, but it's called The Boxer with Daniel Day-Lewis, and he's an Irish guy. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Did you like? Did you?
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be about Barry McGuigan, and then it really wasn't.
Oh boy.
Because wasn't that the way, if you remember, John, wasn't that supposed to be about Barry McGuigan, and then it kind of turned into something else?
I never read that.
Well, I thought it was
never read that. No.
Either that or maybe I just
can't.
thought that because Daniel Day-Lewis was in it, and he was I don't know.
But Daniel Day-Lewis is not a little guy like Barry McGuigan, so there's no way that he would have been cast to play.
I know, but I just thought that they were going to make a movie about Barry McGuigan, and I like Barry McGuigan. I was just bringing that up. You don't have to browbeat me now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm browbeat you on that. No, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Take it easy, man.
I know. I'm getting a little tense here. He's a great actor. The movie is a downer. It's another one of these films that it's not. Well, it's more life, and that's fine. I don't mind that, but I thought it would be really stupendous, and it wasn't. It's good though. I'll say that it's good, and he is anything that Daniel Day-Lewis is in. He is always damn good, and he does it again in this, and the fight scenes are pretty good.
Hey, he's amazing. I mean, I just want to know real quick.
I don't remember it that well, so I'm figuring that I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I'd probably have to rewatch it to figure out. I mean, I'd have to watch it to figure out how good it is. But the thing about Lewis is, I mean, you can tell the dude's a damn good actor, because all you got to do is watch Gangs of New York, and he outacted Leonardo DiCaprio, who is widely considered one of the better actors.
Really? Because I don't like Leonardo DiCaprio. He looks kind of soft to me, like a girl.
Nah, well, I mean, he does have some soft features, but that dude can act. I mean, I thought he was
a good actor.
I really like The Revenant. I really like that flick. That was one of those raw movies, and
I haven't seen that. I was told it was good, though. I got a buddy who said it was really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. And it's
my
excellent.
problem is this, though. It was free at one point on Amazon, but then by the time my buddy told me about it, it was like $3.99. I can't afford to pay $3.99 for that, because if I do, I got to get rid of ESPN Plus or DAZN.
Oh boy.
Well, if you can find a way to get it for free, I don't know if you have Netflix or Hulu or any of that other stuff.
Is it on
you
Netflix now?
I don't know. I really don't. I think they did have it for a little while, but I was impressed because, I don't really delve into the behind the scenes stuff, but, I like go on my, whenever I'm checking my email account, I can't get away from some of this pop culture nonsense. Well, one of the articles I saw actually when I was checking my emails one day was that he actually ate like raw buffalo liver in that movie to, simulate him eating out of a dead carcass. It was pretty cool, man. I mean, like, talk about raw. That movie is raw. I mean, like, the dude gets attacked by a bear and he's just, out for survival. It's a really good flick.
No, that's an incredible.
It's like if you release Chuck Wepner into the Canadian wilderness.
Okay, how about this? This is a movie that I hated, was The Hurricane with Denzel Washington, John.
Why did you hate it?
Because I just think it was bullshit.
About Reuben Hurricane Carter, you didn't believe his story. You think...
I think he did it.
Well,
Everything I've
that
read, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of contorted historically in that movie. And I've read a lot about Reuben Hurricane Carter. And I know that there was a Saturday Evening Post article about him. And, they talked about how he was sent to a reform school for breaking a bottle over a man's head. He stole a wristwatch. He also confessed in that article in the Saturday Evening Post. He said something like his partner and him used to get up and put guns in their pockets like you put a wallet in your pocket. Then they would go into the streets and start fighting. And, just for fun, we used to shoot at folks. And he bragged in that same interview that he once knocked out an uncooperative horse with a single punch. And I don't like people that abuse animals. But I really think that they glorified him more than what they should have. And I'm not 100% sure that Reuben was so innocent.
Well, then I saw the film, and I like Denzel Washington too. It was all right. I didn't think it was anything special. I've heard the same stories about him. There seems to be a very fierce debate about whether he was innocent or not. You go with the film, you have to accept that, which is sometimes difficult. And the fictionalization, they fictionalized one of his fights. I remember made it look like it was his. I can't remember who he was fighting, but they made it look like it was a close fight when in reality he got his butt kicked in that fight.
Hey, this is the best story I've ever heard about this, though. And I just remember this, and if I don't say it now, I'm going to forget. But I think what it went, he was paroled in like 1976 and granted a new trial. And during that brief spell of freedom, if I remember right, he knocked out a 112-pound woman that was running his Free Reuben Support Committee.
Never heard that story.
Yeah, because actually I remember reading about this. It was like the Newark Star Ledger or something. And she just said, I didn't even see it coming. I just remember praying to Allah to help me. So, and she said, then Allah rolled me over and kicked me in the guts. See? I think she meant Reuben. So, I don't know. I just, there's a lot of stuff there that doesn't add up. And you know how Hollywood is. They'll like to glorify stuff, whether it's good or bad, just to make the movies seem better to them. Because that was the thing that I did like about The Fighter, because after I read Intimate Warfare, and that's not a shameless plug, even though it sounds like it, from reading the book and matching it up with the movie, it seemed to me like The Fighter was fairly authentic, though, John.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it before we did all our research for the book, and it was weird that Arturo Gatti wasn't in that, and I know that Mark Wahlberg wanted to do a sequel to The Fighter, and he wanted it to be focused on Gatti. So Dennis and I were on our knees hoping that they might option Intimate Warfare and use that. We were having dreams. I was thinking about a Corvette and all kinds of things. But he's getting pretty old now. I don't think he could do it now. I'm talking about Wahlberg. But Christian Bale was great as Dickie, his brother Dickie. Phenomenal performance. He's a great actor. It's again. See, the worst thing about the Hollywood movies like this is that you pretty much have to know going in that what you're seeing is not really the way that it happened, and then they get all upset when somebody calls them on it. Like we said before about Cinderella Man, they got all defensive. Ron Howard got all defensive about the portrayal of Max Baer because Max Baer Jr. got very upset with the fictionalized version of his father. I mean, how could you blame him? And I know why they do it as far as the story, but put a disclaimer on there on these movies. Say this has parts of truth and lots of fiction or something, because people watch a movie like this and they totally believe it, 100%.
For a lot of people, they'd never even heard of Max Baer. But now the
That's
thought
right.
of Max Baer is just some big asshole that was, threatening to kill people. And it's the same thing with the movie Rudy. I know it's a football movie, but Rudy destroyed Dan Devine. I mean, they're sitting there acting like. I mean, Dan Devine had already said as soon as he got hired, Rudy would play in that last game. Those players never had to go turn their jerseys in so Rudy could play. It was all horse shit. And the bad thing is, Dan Devine let Rudy Rudiger play, and Rudy Rudiger, in turn, let these people destroy his character. And when you think about it like that, it's pretty messed up.
It is. It is totally messed up.
So anytime I see a based on a true story movie, I just think it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah. You know, how about The Great White Hope with James Earl Jones as Jack Jefferson?
When I originally saw it, I didn't like it that much. I thought it was a little bit better when I watched it a couple years ago. Jeremiah, you seen that one at all?
No, I haven't.
Jeez,
sorry.
Jeremiah, do you even own a TV?
I do. Again, I'm just not a big TV watcher, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I feel myself getting older again. I just feel myself getting older, like as time passes by. 'Cause it's like dumb stuff, It's like I listen to music, and it feels like we're headed towards people, banging on pots and pans and hyperventilating, and people are like, that's what they're going to Coachella for, or whatever the hell. I don't know, man. It's, like I grew up watching some martial arts flicks, like Jackie Chan and Jet Li. That was kind of my era, like that's what I grew up watching. And I don't know, nowadays everything just is so polished and fancy, and I don't know, man. I have a hard time just getting into TV at all. I know there's some great stuff out there, but every once in a while I'll sit down with my wife and she'll be like, let's watch a movie. And then it takes me, honestly, I've sat through the Netflix. I've scrolled through it for like an hour.
Dude, every night, what me and my wife do is we'll go to Netflix, and then we get the Amazon, and you go through like millions of movies, and it's either stuff we've seen or we never wanted to see, and then we just go to YouTube and watch something stupid.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I am, honestly. Whenever my wife's like, "Hey, want to watch?" If we don't have something set like a show, I mean, because I don't really watch TV. That's obvious right now, but I will watch some stuff. Like now, I'm watching Chernobyl with her. We're going through that series, and it's pretty damn good.
It's not factually based, though. You know that, right?
But yeah. I mean, it's right. Yeah, I mean, they have. They've got I think it's the director, he'll give like a little like 3-minute chat or something, kind of, wrapping up the episode. It's not all factually correct, sure, but there are a lot of accuracies in there. There was a good video that Monty Cox shared of a guy who was born in that area, and he talks about some of the things that they do get right, and he said he was surprised by the amount of accuracy that is in the show. Like some of the little things that they pay attention to, like he was talking about the license plates, how everything in the show is correct when it comes to license plates. Like military vehicles had different license plates. Theirs was, I think, black, and the civilian ones were white. He talked about a lot of things that were good in the show and were factually correct, but he also talked about a few things that they missed or they should have added that was interesting. And I know this isn't boxing, but one thing that I did find particularly interesting was he said in the Soviet Union, everybody had connections for a radio, and some people had more than one radio, these things looked like air conditioners. But he said in the Soviet Union, everybody had a radio connections, so it was an outlet specifically for the radio. And he said that in the Soviet Union, they knew whenever something had gone wrong because all you got on your radio was a mix of local news, state news, and music. And the music, by and large, was classical. So it was like Chavsky and stuff like that, like native stuff. And he said whenever you would hear just hours and hours and hours of classical music play on the radio, you knew they were preparing to tell you something big. So once the Chernobyl thing happened, that was one thing that a lot of people recognized that, oh shit, like, classical music it's been on for like 2 days now. What's going to happen? That was just one of the interesting tidbits. It's well done. I like the show, whatever. But I don't know, man. I just struggle getting into TV because just the state of a lot of things are.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you'd ever seen Matilda the Boxing Kangaroo in the late 70s, you'd watch TV. John, did you ever see Matilda the Boxing Kangaroo, John?
I saw probably about 30 seconds of it, and then I flipped the channel years ago. But that could be taken either way, because I tend to watch really deep intellectual shows like Ghost Hunters and Mountain Monsters and things like that. So,
Are they still searching for those ghosts?
And finding Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff. I love all that stuff. So yeah, I get real deep into that. So yeah, I couldn't handle Matilda. It was just too much for me, Mike. But yeah, you hang out at Chernobyl, Jeremiah. I'm still looking for ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of those ghost shows strike me as a little weird, because they'll go into 500-year-old German castles and they'll start speaking English at the ghost. I'm like, I don't think you're getting it here. I don't think
ghosts
that's
are
how you approach
bullshit
them.
myself. I just wanted to say that. There's a place in northern Kentucky. You lived in northern Kentucky, Jeremiah. Do you remember? Do you ever hear of Bobby Mackey's?
That does kind of sound familiar, but I don't remember. I mean, I did live in northern Kentucky in Covington. I actually remember the address. I could probably go to my old place right now. I think I was on West 9th in some 2-story brick building. Yeah, I don't know. That does sound kind of familiar, but I can't put a finger on it right now.
Bobby Mackey, it's a bar that supposedly some creepy shit used to happen at back in the old days, and they give tours when you go to the bar. And I think what it is people see ghosts because they get to drinking. I don't drink, and me and my wife went there. And we didn't see any ghosts. We saw a lot of fat women in cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and a lot of drunk men with no teeth. But it's Kentucky, so it's kind of what you expect. It was like any other bar.
Think what those ghosts look like. That's even scarier. But yeah. I don't know. I think I remember hearing about that sort of stuff. But no, it's like those ghost hunter shows. I don't know, man. I think ghosts are bullshit too, but it's just, I don't know. It's funny because, like I said, they'll go into these old castles and they'll start speaking. I'm like, dude, you're in Transylvania, trying to find, Vlad the Impaler's ghost or something, and you're speaking English. He's like, "Are you pissed at me? Do you want me here?" He's trying to add.
Hey, did you know that Vlad the Impaler was my porn name when I used to be in the porn movies?
That figure.
Pornhub, here we come. Let's see.
It's midnight. It's all right. How about this? Real quick, John. I'll give you one. With the Ghost, a boxing movie. Here comes Mr. Jordan.
Oh, I love that film. I meant to mention that one earlier. I do. I love it. Robert Montgomery, Claude Rains as God, right? And he dies. I mean, before his time, and then they're searching around trying to find his body. I just watched it with my dove, and I saw that movie when I was a little kid, which obviously, as Jeremiah has let us know and let me know a number of times,
when I was a little kid too,
ago, 1930s or something, right? Yeah. So
yeah, and then I actually liked the remake too, but they switched the remake to football with Heaven Can Wait. Was it Warren Beatty?
Yeah.
Jack Warden too, wasn't
it? Heaven Can Wait, right? Yeah, it wasn't bad, but here comes Mr. Jordan. Is got just a nice feel to it. It's kind of funny, and it's kind of sad in some ways, but it's a good film. And Robert Montgomery, pulls it off, and it's funny. I enjoyed it a lot, not just because of the ghost connection. It's a good movie.
All right, another movie real quick that I think is really bad is The Brawler, which is for some reason they made a second movie about Chuck Wepner. It's on Netflix, and it completely sucks. I mean, they've got, Chuck Wepner in this movie has a six-pack, and he's a very handsome man with long hair.
So
Mike,
a lot of attention to detail is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mike
a lot
has
of
been
attention to
badgering me to
detail.
watch that one, Jeremiah. So, yeah, Mike has been badgering me to watch that one.
Yeah, because it's so unreal. It was just like, how did the Duran movie finish up? Did they finish it with him beating like Vinny Pazienza? No, that was the only thing I didn't like for Bleed for this, was they finished it with Vinny beating Roberto Duran, who was like 160 years old by then. And Roberto Duran looked damn near like a prime Duran in the movie, if I remember right, didn't he? It wasn't a pudgy Duran.
Yeah, that's true. And there's Hollywood again. See, they probably figure, well, even people that don't know boxing very well will know the name Roberto Duran, and they won't know that when they fought, Roberto Duran was like you said, about 50 years old, way, way, way past his prime. But then he beats him, and that was the point. He beat a legend. So that's Hollywood.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a Craig Houck movie someday.
Yeah.
That could be a Jim Carrey movie. Jim Carrey could play it. And then, like, fight in a fight where he gets his hair knocked off and stuff. I can't help it because that's still one of the funniest videos I ever saw. And then Craig, for some reason, unfriended me the next day. Who knew?
Yeah, that's a bit weird, man. I don't know. I don't know what the relation is there. But have you guys seen I Am Duran, the documentary, yet?
No. Where do we see it at? Have you seen it?
Dude, no, I haven't seen it. But I think I know it came out in June.
And the preview looked good, but was that something that was only shown overseas, or?
No, I feel like they put it in like on some website or something where you could only stream it there. I don't remember, but it looked good. I mean, the fact that they rolled it out in such a short fashion and they did a bad job, getting it out there. I don't know. Just it strikes me as a little bit weird. But I have seen, I think, at least two.
I've got something for you. Amazon Prime has I Am Duran for $5.99. And
okay.
I by looking at this, the IMDb gives it like an 8.5 out of 10. It's also on YouTube for $5.99 or from $5.99. Google Play $5.99 from $5.99, which means it's probably like $176. Hold on here, I'm checking Amazon. Amazon, you can rent it for $5.99 or you can buy it for $7.99. So there you go. You got something to watch now. Do you have a Amazon account?
Yeah, I think my wife does. So yeah, I think I could probably check that out. But yeah, I did want to see it. Actually, I heard that was pretty good, and I heard the one that very few of us paid attention to as well. We didn't even mention it, but the what is it? The Muhammad Ali one that HBO did as well, and I think was.
I haven't seen it because I've seen so many freaking Muhammad Ali documentaries. I know. I didn't think anything else could be added to it.
Yeah, I know. I did see it. I did see a couple people say it was pretty good. Again, I don't always take these things at face value, obviously. But, I heard I Am Duran is pretty good, too. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to check those out. But I'd like to see the Duran one at least.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that within the next 24 hours, and I'll report back to you. I might watch that tonight after everybody goes to bed. Got a quick question from Jack. Wants to know what we think of the Tyson movie HBO did in the mid-90s, early 90s. I didn't like it. How about you guys?
Jeremiah first.
Did you ever see the Tyson movie?
No, I never watched it.
John, did you ever see it?
Nope.
Well, I did, really so I was here to answer the question. So, how about this? Yeah. Did you guys...
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. Thanks for Jack for making those two look like idiots. But I've seen it, so I'm good with it. The Bronx Bull. Have you seen that one? Either one of you?
I have not seen that one, and that's a sequel, I guess, or a prequel to The Raging Bull, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right. It's free on Amazon, too, by the way.
That's still too much. It looks totally stupid.
It's not
no
that
interest.
bad. I've seen worse.
Not going to waste 90 minutes of my life or whatever watching that crap.
Yeah, Matilda the Kangaroo.
That's a freaking awesome
watched
movie.
That 30...
And I've been asking anybody that could give me a copy of that movie. I'll pay them really well.
Yeah, is it rare?
Obsessed with that.
Is it a collector's item? Is that why you can't find it?
It's rare as hell. I think it's because after they made the movie, they realized they made it, and then they tried to burn every copy so it wouldn't destroy their careers.
They burned every copy. That's what I was
and see,
say.
Elliot Gould was in it, but you can't blame Elliot Gould because he was in every movie in the late 70s and early 80s.
So who has the only surviving copies? Is it Matilda and the Kangaroo? Are they the only two with copies?
The Kangaroo died in a fiery car crash, is what I heard. On the Autobahn.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
going to see Max Schmeling.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, probably because he was yeah. Well, I remember that story because I saw the newspaper, and I guess he was mad because somebody called him. They asked if he was from New Zealand. They were like, "Hey, are you from New Zealand?" And he was like, "I'm an Aussie cunt," and then he drove off.
I don't know where that went. All I know is we got to wrap the show up soon, John, because when it starts to get like this, things get off the rails really quick.
I can feel it going there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime Jeremiah talks about an Aussie cunt, things go to hell.
That's it. Yeah, that's the end.
I guess if it was from New Zealand, it would be a Kiwi cunt.
Exactly. Well, yeah, the kangaroo though is from Australia. You know how they get. It's weird. It's like they're the same thing, but it's like North and South Korea. It's like they look the same.
Or you call somebody from China Vietnamese. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. We had a neighbor like that one time, and somebody called him Vietnamese, and oh damn, there was almost a fist fight there. Quick question from Hamed before we drop it. Hamed, why are you still listening to this shit? Hamed's question is, have you watched the film of Muhammad Ali when he portrayed himself in The Greatest? I know John's seen this.
Yes, I did. I did see it. The movie was only okay. Hard to play yourself, if you guys, Jackie
Yeah, but you know
Robinson
what? It's
played
almost
himself.
impossible for somebody else to play him.
Well, there's that. Will Smith, I didn't see him. We never talked about Ali. Will Smith, I didn't think it was terrible. It was okay. Will Smith was all right. He suggested Muhammad Ali at times, but the boxing part.
How about this? If you are, young and didn't really live through Ali and don't know a whole lot, it's probably a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, and Will Smith did his best, and I can't remember the name of the actor played Bundini Brown, and he did pretty well. And they had the end with the Foreman fight and everything, dramatized it to a degree, but still, it's not bad. It's too long, I think, and so it drags in places, but it's still not a bad. Not a bad film.
Okay.
If you don't know a lot about Muhammad Ali.
Hold on, Jeremiah saw a movie.
Oh. No, I didn't see a movie. No, I actually did see Ali, but I agree with you, Mike. Where it's one of those things where Muhammad Ali was just such a unique character. Like he was so idiosyncratic in his mannerisms that he was just impossible to portray. You just couldn't find somebody to do Ali. He just was a one of a kind. But I wanted to ask, because I've heard that, Willie Pep might get a movie. I think Nicolini Loci is getting a film as well, though obviously none of us are going to see that because I think it's going to be created in, Argentina. But if who still needs a movie? Who do they still have yet to create? I mean, and ideally a good movie, because I know they've done Jack Dempsey, but I haven't heard that was very good. But who?
They could do a Marciano movie that didn't suck. That would be good. What I would want to see is this: how about Stanley Ketchel or Carlos Monzon?
How about a good movie on Joe Lewis?
Yeah, there's never been a movie. Yeah. How about this? Scott LeDoux.
Oh, ding, ding.
I tried.
Price is Right, baby.
How about a movie about Matilda? How about
they
that?
They already made that. Matilda died. She can't even have a remake.
That's the one they burned all the copies of. That's done.
I don't know, but I think Ron Lyle would be an interesting movie too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ron Lyle. Yeah.
And I think Barry McGuigan would be a good movie.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What do you go for? You just don't like Irish people since you're Italian, John. Admit it.
That's not true at all. Barry McGuigan was one of my favorite fighters. I just don't think there's enough there for a movie.
I think there would be, but I think that they would go way over the top with it.
Well, of course they would.
Yeah.
They did make a movie on Boom Boom Mancini. Robert Blake played his.
That was made for TV in 1985, wasn't it?
That's right. Produced by Sylvester Stallone.
Was it? I didn't even remember that. I remember it wasn't a very good movie, though. But I'll tell you, The Good Son, I think, is a good documentary.
That is good. Yes, I saw that. That's good.
So
I'd like to see Joe Gons get a movie. I mean, the dude, like, fought through tuberculosis. I mean, I don't know. I found his story
well, how about
particularly
this?
interesting.
What about Harry Wills from the 20s?
Yeah, that would be another one. Yeah. That would
Sam
be another one.
Langford. I'd love to see movies about any of those guys.
Yeah, I think even a modern day flick that would be pretty good was maybe Kasim Uma. I mean, Kasim Uma is one of the more interesting stories
Didn't
I've
they make
heard.
a documentary about him?
Did they? I thought
I think
maybe they did. I don't know,
I think
but
that I watched it. I don't remember if I liked it or not, but I always liked Kasim Uma just because of the story. I mean, he's 7 or 8 years old fighting in a war.
yeah, they basically put an AK in his hand. They were like, "Well, off you go." I mean,
Yeah.
some of these guys grow up hard, but that's something you rarely ever hear. I mean, I can't remember a story like it, though I'm probably sure there have been people who have done a similar thing but never made it as far in boxing. But yeah, that was one of those stories that really stuck out to me compared to other guys.
And then how about a movie about Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward and their relationship and their 3
Yes.
fights? There you
Yeah.
go. And that screenplay could
Yep.
be written by John and Dennis.
You got it. That's what we're hoping for.
And Ed
Anybody out
Mulholland
there
can
will-
shoot the video. Can he use a video camera like he does a photo camera?
Oh, I'm sure he can.
I just called it a photo camera because I couldn't remember the words. Damn. All right.
I'm
A
tired.
picture camera maker.
Oh,
A moving picture.
Yeah, a picture camera maker.
yeah, that's what we are talking about. Yeah, moving picture.
But I do James Scott, who just passed away. That would be interesting, I
Remember
think.
him, yeah, in
And
jail.
this is my ultimate boxing movie. What about Matthew Saad Muhammad, from being left out in front of a church or a parish when he was an infant?
Yeah,
So there's a lot
Yeah,
of
there's a
Rocky
lot of-
Lockridge.
yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few. They're very dramatic. That's the thing about a lot of boxers' lives is a lot of them come from nothing and make something of themselves, and then like Matthew Saad Muhammad, they end up losing it all. It's tragic, but it's a heck of a story made well. There was one movie I just thought of. I don't know if you guys saw it. God, was called what was it called? Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and this actor. Josh Hartnett was
Undisputed?
No,
Not Undisputed.
Was
Resurrecting the Champ.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That movie wasn't bad. I was actually watching
I
that
think
one because
I
was
think I
doing
like that.
nothing.
But I can't
Yeah,
remember it.
it
I know I
surprised me.
saw it. It came out, was it the late 90s, mid-90s?
I think it was that or the early 2000s, maybe more the 2000s. But that movie wasn't bad. It didn't make like a buck at the box office, but it was pretty well done. And Hartnett was good, and Jackson was good, and it was based on the story of Johnny Bratton. I remember that. My dad's favorite fighter in Chicago, who had some articles written about him, and when they found him.
I didn't realize that was about Bratton when they made it.
Yeah, that's what I remember reading, and that one was pretty good. That was one of those movies I hadn't read anything about, which I normally do, and I just watched it and I went,
Damn,
wow,
I'm way off. 2007.
Yeah, I thought it was in the 2000s. Yeah, it was pretty good. That's one for you, Jeremiah. You might like that. It's a little
There
different.
you go. That's in
Yeah.
color and stuff.
Yeah. Well, hey, so long as it's not one of those silent movies, I'm willing to watch whatever. Do you guys watch action flicks nowadays? Like, you guys watch martial arts movies or anything like that?
Not without Sylvester Stallone, I don't.
No. Well, I mean, it is
I don't even like
it
the
is hard.
Expendables, but when the other Rambo comes out, I'll watch that.
Yeah, no, that looks cool. No, well, I do like the Expendables. I think they're cheesy. I like that. That's what I want because it just reminds me. It just kind of like harkens back to a time when, like the movie flicks were a bit cheesier, but I don't know, it just felt more masculine to me. Again, I have a tough time buying these guys. But no, I still watch, like every once in a while, I'll still watch martial arts flicks. Not a ton of modern stuff, but have either of you heard of Raid Redemption?
No, sounds like some video game you kids play.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not me. Red Dead Redemption is a video game, and actually, it's quite good. It's very, very good, actually. The second one, I haven't played the first one all the way through, but no, it's a martial arts flick, and it's Red Redemption, and they have a 2, and I think 2 is even better than 1. But 2 is kind of like a mix of a mafia type movie with martial arts. Anyways, it's good. I'd like to see them go like. If you've seen some of the old Jackie Chan flicks where the storyline is not that deep, but he's doing a lot of ass kicking in there, I'd love to see a movie like that where they have a boxer in it. Again, just where I don't care if the storyline is that deep. I want to see him just whip a bunch of ass. You know, like where it's just, you know what I mean?
You
Well,
kids, I'll tell you.
You guys have never seen an action like a martial arts flick and been like, can we do that with a boxer? I don't know. That's always been a dream of mine.
I never liked martial arts movies because I never understood how one guy could beat up 20 guys and why the 20 guys just wouldn't all jump him and just kick the living shit out of him all at once.
Because that was Bruce Lee that was doing that. Enter the Dragon. A man is a legend.
Well, can we do Enter the Dragon, but as a boxer? Can we do that? I mean, would that be interesting?
We could have Amir Khan star in it. Nah, he'd get knocked out.
Immediately, first fight.
Hey, we could have Floyd Mayweather in it because he just ducks, dodges, and backs up anyways. So he may be able to get away with it.
Nah, he should have been in Dodgeball.
Dodgeball was an awesome movie, by the way.
Duck, dive, dodge, dip.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That was good stuff right there.
Mindless.
Oh, they've got a prison boxer movie in 2018. It was called A Prayer Before Dawn.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
then
good name, actually.
There was another one in prison with see, I'm getting tired. Was it Wesley Snipes where he's in prison and he fights the champ?
Yeah.
Undisputed, isn't that what it's called?
That's the one I said before.
Undisputed. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good actually. It was pretty
all right.
gritty.
Now I saw one about a boxer that, damn, I know I called and told you about it, Jeremiah, because I found it on my illegal, what is that, Amazon Fire Stick feed. And
is that Cody?
Yeah, the Cody thing, but it was about a boxer in the UK who won the title, and then he defended the title, and his wife didn't want him to because he was getting older and he was fighting a younger kid, and he ended up being like messed up in the head for the rest of his life. I cannot remember the name of the movie. It was last year. It was a movie in the UK, but it was really good. But I can't remember.
Never heard of
it. Was.
Yeah.
You never heard of it because I can't remember the name, John. If I can't get you a name, you've never heard of it.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it either. So
let's see if we can figure this out. What would I look at?
You know, there's something about it that sounds familiar. Maybe you told me something about it.
It might have been you. Yeah, because Jeremiah doesn't watch TV, so didn't get any good tell.
Jeremiah doesn't own
and I'm the young one. Yeah, and I'm the young one.
You're the young one. You're the baby, right?
Let's see. What was the name of that? I think it was you I told about it, John.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd remember. I thought you told me, but I can't remember the name of it.
Journeyman. With Patty Considine.
Journeyman. Yeah, I heard about that it was really good. And yeah, right. But I didn't get a chance to watch it. But, yeah, I heard that was a very good film.
Yeah. So
that one was underrated. There you go, Journeyman.
Yeah. So if you can find Journeyman, watch it. It's pretty deep. It's very sad, too, because there's no good ending off to stuff like that. But
well, that's how life is sometimes, see? So I don't have a problem.
I would like to say again that I was very disappointed in Creed 2. Because I was all pumped up. They should have let Ivan Drago's son win. Ivan should get to win a fight because it's only when he killed a man. So you shouldn't let him go out like that.
And it was an exhibition, too. Remember that?
Yeah, it was just an exhibition. That's what Duke said when he was spitting all over everybody when he was trying to say it.
Yeah, right.
But
spitting all over the place.
All right. We got anything else before we wrap it up? Jeremiah, who doesn't own a TV or watch shows, but thinks some men are kind of really sexy.
It's been a good show, hasn't it?
I don't know. It's me, you, John, and Hamed is my greatest fear.
Hamed is like a groupie, so thank God for
No,
Hamed.
he's not.
Really
Hamed has been on the show more than you have. Not really, but he's getting there. We like Hamed.
Okay. No,
Hamed brings us a Wales perspective.
Welsh. God.
Yeah, whatever.
Wales perspective.
Yeah. I just realized I said that. Sorry, Hamed.
Wow.
You can still come on Friday night and talk boxing if you want, though.
Yeah, and you can give him shit for that, too.
Yeah, you can give me shit.
Don't.
Wales perspective. Yeah, but at least I don't think Hamed's fat, so he won't take it the wrong way. He'll know that I'm just some dumbass American and it's 12:30 in the morning where I'm at.
It's like, go get your cheeseburger, fatty. It's almost a fourth.
Hey, I'm 6'1", 220 pounds now, so I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my
more than me.
fight.
He weighs more than you, right, Jeremiah? He weighs a hell of a lot more than you, right?
Yeah. I'm not that skinny, but yeah, I don't know. I think about 170.
Hamed
170.
said, "Do you mean Patty Constant?" I thought it was Patty Constantine, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's probably what I mean. And Hamed, if you're out there listening, did you see the movie Journeyman? And what was your opinion? Give us a quick answer before we wrap it up. John, do you have anything before we wrap it up?
No, I think we pretty much hit on all the highs and lows, maybe more lows. I do think, Mike, that we ought to get together and buy Jeremiah television. That might help so that he can get up to snuff on some of these things. And I understand he liked the action films when men were men and women were proud of it. Right, Jeremiah?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, at least when men were men, it's not all this, like, I don't know. There's just so much politics injected in films anymore. I don't know. It's hard to watch because it was very black and white, and Stallone and Schwarzenegger were doing it. Like, they were out kicking ass, and now they've got to integrate
Willis, Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how about
that's how I hope to go out.
Right? Jeremiah, Lethal Weapon. Those were good.
Those were funny as hell. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Yeah, no, I loved all those flicks. I mean, I do like some modern flicks like Gangs in New York, which I think you should watch, Mike. That's one of my favorite. Well, it is, but I mean, the 90s doesn't, I don't know. I don't consider the 90s old, but I don't know. For me, Gangs of New York is one of my favorite flicks of all time. I don't know. I think that movie's excellent. But, some historical inaccuracies in that one, but it's still pretty cool. And Daniel Day-Lewis is just phenomenal in that one. I mean, and it's directed by Martin Scorsese. So, I mean, you almost guaranteed a good
Scorsese.
Whatever. You're almost. Well, I thought John would be correcting me because he's the Italian there. But, yeah, I mean, it's just an excellent flick.
Pass.
But
I let that pass. You're tired.
And Hamed said that that's the film, but he has not seen it. So
not many people have seen it.
He said good.
Looks like we both have homework.
So Hamed's nice enough to lie to us.
Nice. Looks like me and Hamed both have homework to do.
Yeah, you and Hamed need to both see Southpaw before Friday night. And Hamed's going to let us know if he can come on Friday night. Because there's no fights to talk about this weekend. So we're going to have to make something up. So, Hamed, if you want to be on the show, you got to come with some topics. So there you go. All right,
sure
guys.
He will.
We're going to wrap it up for today. Make sure you check us out tomorrow night. Are we doing a 4th of July special edition there, Jeremiah?
I don't know, man. But we're going to have to play that by ear because I plan on going watching the fireworks, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Oh, all you got to do is look up.
Yeah, you're right, but I have the map. You're right, but I can't do that from inside my place, and we have the mountains here, so I might drive up there and take a look. I don't know, take a peek. It's pretty cool up there.
See, I'm in Indiana. People pretty much set off fireworks year-round, so tomorrow night I'll be protecting my dogs. I got 2 of my 3 dogs about pooped their pants. But then people would think that I put pants on my dog. And I only do that when it's cold out. We want to keep them from getting cold.
And you put them in your purse and carry them around the store?
Yeah, I don't think we could put a pit bull, a coon dog, or a yellow lab in a purse.
Bowling bag?
Bowling bag? Maybe the pit bull. He's only about a year old. Right now, this is what goes on at this show when people can't see. If we did this show video-wise, right now I'm sitting here talking. My pit bull's laying here with his head straight back, all fours, wide open, and his balls are just hanging there. I just wanted to paint a picture for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they had a video of me, it'd just be my balls hanging there.
We need to get both you guys fixed, anyways. Just so you know.
I've heard that from more than just you.
That's your wife. When his kids are back there screaming, and you're like, "I'm on a boxing show." She's going, "You fucker! I should have had you fixed."
Yeah, well, it's not because she doesn't want to have any more kids. It's because she's sad and depressed.
Oh, all right. Because of your balls?
No.
Oh, okay.
The other thing.
The other thing, the 88. The 88, remember?
The 88.
Yeah, the old car. It's having a hard time turning it over. You just need a tune-up. You need a tune-up, that's all.
They called Jeremiah the putter. He just putters around. Heard a sputterer. Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap this up before it goes too far off the rails, which I think should have been done 37 to 45 minutes ago. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind everybody, go to betnow.eu, put in the promo code TRUTH50 to get a 50% cash back bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. Or you can go to GorillingTruth.com, click the banner at the top of the page for betnow.eu, and put in the promo code TRUTH50. Either way, put in the promo code TRUTH50. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for John Raspanti, buy Intimate Warfare on Amazon. Jeremiah Preisser, send him some blue pills. I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.